Okay, today we are going to tie a Barr's emerger. And we are going to start off with an Umpqua U201 hook and device. This is basically the TMC 2488, a little bit more budget friendly. So we're going to try them out. We're going to see how well I like them. For the thread, we're going to start off with some Simperfly 12-aught and dark mocha brown. And if you like these kind of small emerger, betas, midge patterns, go ahead and give this video a like and let us know your favorite pattern to fish in the comments. So I'm going to start this fly right about the hook point. With these small patterns, it's pretty important to make sure that we keep our kind of key points. You know, we want the body of the fly to kind of end right about the hook point. So our thorax can be hook point to maybe a hook eye behind the hook eye. And that kind of keeps everything from crowding that hook eye. For the tail on this, it's a tail / emerging shuck. You can get away with quite a bit of things. This is Whitting Farms CDL mayfly tails in brown. But you could get away with most brown hackle fibers. You're going to tie them in super long. The length doesn't really matter other than don't tie them in short. Tie them in as long as the fibers will let you, pretty much. Now I tie them about there in the bend to make sure I kind of have them all in my hands, and you come and you cut them about a hook shank length, about like that. You end up trimming those tips off. That's why it kind of ends up being more of a trailing shuck than a tail, really. I just come back, make sure we got that hackle all nicely attached. And now it's time to dub the body. So you kind of, I'd say a dark olive. This is some super fine in blue winged olive. These patterns get pretty small. So this 18 would be on the larger size of what these get tied in. So the super fine really helps us keep a nice small body, and with it being such a small pattern, that's also you can get away with the super fine dubbing for the body of the fly. Get that body dubbed in there, a nice thin body of dubbing, and then you get that end with your thread back there at that hook point, so you're in the right spot to tie in your wing case, which is just going to be, well, it's going to start off, you're going to get a little bit of flash, a little bit of pearlescent flash. This is in size small. And we just want to make sure that we get this tied in right on top. Make sure that when we fold that over, it's going to be right there. Top. There it is. Tie in all the way to the back there. Okay. Now for the wing case, I'm just going to use, this is some mallard flank. Going to use about 10 fibers. I wouldn't go more than 10. The ones that I've done where you grab 12, I think they just, it's a little bit too much. So I would say no more than 10. So then you get them here. And I go ahead and cut those little curlicue ends off. It helps get a good tie in here. I want these to end up right on top. Everything there is nice and on top of this hook. And here's where make sure we want to be right to that hook point. If you get too far forward of that hook point at this stage of the fly, you're going to start crowding this hook with your thorax. And with these being a smaller fly, you can get away with gray dubbing. It's a gray dubbing, but it's just some superfine Adams gray for the thorax here. You could use some bug ear dubbing. It just becomes a little bit easier to end up crowding the hook eye. Then with these smaller hooks, you're going to start running into trouble with getting your tippet through the hook eye. Start off with just a really, really thin, small dubbing noodle, just dirtying up our thread basically. We really want to keep this, if you can see there, we've kept that about a hook eye away from the hook eye. So now there we have our wing case. You kind of just shake it a little bit. Those feathers will kind of separate slightly so you can get some good coverage with it. So then keep a little upward tension that'll help keep from letting those fibers go down to the hook eye. We're getting all these materials. Make sure that flash is on there nicely. I like to fold it back so that flash doesn't pull out on you. And then we can come in here and trim this out. And you can see that flash it's not a huge amount of flash, but I do like just a little bit there. If you wanted to, you could use a medium-sized pencil if you want. Now we're going to try to get about half of these going to each side of the hook. These are going to end up being your legs. So, get a couple wraps on them, you can kind of maneuver these a little bit and then hold on to them, and you can get the head of this fly tied in. This is where those proportions really matter quite a bit. The smaller these flies get. I don't know if you can see that hook guy is nice and clear. Nothing in the way. Then just come back here and a little bit longer than that thorax. Trim those. Now, let's say you have a couple here that didn't want to do exactly what you wanted. You can come in here, trim those off close, and because that wing case is the same thing, you won't even see if there's a little butt sticking out from there. And there you have a nice little legs on each side, and there you have a Barr's emerger. So if you like tying these small flies, go ahead and give this video a like. Let us know what your favorite pattern is in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.